It's the land of the clans, the kilt, and the bagpipe. A roaring river in the Highlands. An historic castle on the west coast. Peaceful yet mysterious lochs. Scotland. It's just the way you've always pictured it. Scotland. Almost 30,000 square miles of deep green glens, majestic mountains, shimmering lochs, and historic cities. It covers the northernmost third of Great Britain and is part of the United Kingdom, yet it remains proudly independent. It is easily accessible by air from New York and Boston in the United States and from Montreal in Canada, with direct flights to Glasgow's Prestwick Airport. Also, there are easy air connections to Scotland's major cities from key air gateways in Europe and Great Britain. For a more scenic excursion, take an easy 4.5-hour rail trip from London to Edinburgh. Whatever your travel plans, Scotland's sights are easily accessible by rail, motor coach, tour bus, or rental car. Thousands of years ago, nomadic tribes came here to hunt and fish along the fertile coast. Over the years, they banded together for survival. By 600 AD, 4 distinct groups had emerged: the Picts, the Scots, the Britons, and the Angles. This was the beginning of a proud and sometimes stormy history of a legendary land where the heritage of the past is reflected in the countryside and in the lives and traditions of its people. This is Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland, built some 1,500 years ago, located on the southern shore of the Firth of Forth, an estuary connected to the North Sea. Wherever you walk or look is history. Spectacular panoramas from the hills surrounding the city. Historic buildings in Old Town and New Town. The Old Town, dating back to medieval times, grew along a single street called the Royal Mile, which linked the castle with the palace of Holyrood House. Edinburgh Castle, built during the 6th century atop an extinct volcano, dominates the city. Over the centuries, it's been used as a fortress, the seat of Scotland's royalty until its union with England in 1707, and today is a popular historical tourist attraction. The various buildings added over the centuries represent layer upon layer of Scottish history. Explore the great halls, royal apartments, and museum with exhibits like Mons Meg, a 5-ton 15th century cannon. The Crown Room displays the oldest royal regalia in Europe. The crown, made of Scottish gold, is ornamented with 94 pearls, 10 diamonds, and 33 other precious jewels. It was first used in 1306 for the coronation of Robert the Bruce, savior of Scottish independence. At the opposite end of the Royal Mile is the Palace of Holyrood House, the frequent home of Britain's royal family. The original palace was built as a guest house for the Abbey of Holyrood during the 12th century. Later, during the 17th century, it was expanded and rebuilt to present magnificence. One of the most famous residents was Mary, Queen of Scots, who spent 6 years of her tumultuous reign here. Along the Mile are notable historical buildings, quaint houses, shops and stores, pubs, and a wax museum which is housed in the former New Assemblies Hall. Inside are fabulous recreations of historical characters and events from the past, and those popular in the present. This is St. Giles Cathedral, more properly called the High Kirk of Scotland, which is the spiritual home of the Presbyterian Church. This Gothic structure, with its ornate flying buttresses and crown-shaped steeple, rising 161 feet high, dates back to the 15th century. From here, religious reformer John Knox preached his Protestant doctrine. Princes Street Gardens, located between the old and new towns, affords travelers arriving by rail a memorable first glimpse of the city. Once this area was swampland, used as a moat to protect the city. Today, it offers inviting gardens and the landmark monument to literary figure Sir Walter Scott. From the top, the fabulous view of the city and countryside is well worth the 287-step climb. Edinburgh's striking new town, built in the prosperous 18th century, was one of the first examples of large-scale town planning in Britain. It was designed by a 27-year-old architect named James Craig, whose plan won the competition for designing Newtown, sponsored by the then Lord Provost and the noted architect Robert Adam. Throughout the city are outstanding examples of their work. Rows of Georgian townhomes, perfect geometric crescents line the gardens. Cobblestone roads converge on stately squares. Princes Street, located between Old Town and Princes Street Gardens, is in the heart of the shopping district. Look for Harris tweed and cashmere, Edinburgh crystal, marmalade, and tartans for every clan. Kilts were born of necessity in medieval Scotland. They allowed the Scots to keep warm without soaking up the Highland rain and snow. The kilt enjoyed a rebirth in the 19th century when it became high fashion in society circles. Today, visitors have over 350 tartans to choose from. From mid-August to early September, Edinburgh comes alive with art, drama, dance, and music. The Edinburgh Festival is considered the largest in the world and is why Edinburgh has earned the nickname the Festival City. An offspring of the festival is the famous Festival Fringe. What started with a handful of students has today become a major event, almost rivaling the festival. Actors, singers, musicians, clowns, jugglers, and cabaret stars fill the streets and theaters during this event. Each night, during the 3 weeks of the festival, the city is at her most spectacular. The Military Tattoo entertains audiences with the magnificence of Edinburgh Castle as its backdrop. Travel out into the lush green countryside, for there awaits a new historical site at every corner and turn. Southeast of Edinburgh is one of the most visited of Scottish literary landmarks, the home of Sir Walter Scott. Abbotsford is a great baronial hall where Scott did most of his writing. It contains outstanding collections of Scott memorabilia, including an armory and a library with 9,000 books. Nearby is Melrose Abbey, a symbol of the rebirth of unified Scotland after years of domination by Viking and Roman invaders. Built in the 12th century by King David I, it is the best preserved of the 4 great abbeys built during his reign. Here is an example of classic architecture designed by William Adam. Hopetoun House is located on the Firth of Forth, 10 miles west of the capital. It was built in 1699, with the ornate facade added in 1721. During the Age of Enlightenment in Scotland, great houses were built. Dalmeny House, home of the Earls of Rosebery since 1662, is an example. Near Edinburgh, it contains one of the world's great collections of Napoleon belongings. Dalmeny also holds the Rothschild collection of French furniture, tapestries, and porcelain from the time of Louis XIV. Northwest of Edinburgh is the historic city of Stirling. Perched above the city is Stirling Castle, dating from the 13th century. This fortress dominated much of Scotland's stormy history and was the scene of many bloody battles. Of all the traditions of Scotland, none holds a higher place than golf. The cradle of the sport is the old course of St. Andrews, where golf has been played for some 500 years. Located above a wide bay north of the Firth of Forth, this seaside links course is just one of almost 100 different courses and clubs near Edinburgh. While traveling, the avid golfer could play on nearly 500 golf courses throughout Scotland. Westward along the River Clyde is Scotland's largest city, Glasgow. This bustling city has been an industrial and commercial center since the Industrial Revolution. Once plagued with pollution, Glasgow today is a clean, vibrant, working city with an eye toward the future. High-rise buildings and Victorian architecture blend together. George Square at the city's center is home of the City Hall and statues of notable Scots. The University of Glasgow is a renowned 19th century Victorian masterpiece. Located near the River Kelvin, it was designed by architect George Gilbert Scott. Later, the revolutionary work of Charles Rennie Mackintosh gave Glasgow and the world Art Nouveau. Numerous buildings can be seen as examples of his simplicity and organization of space and mind. Just south of the city is the Burrell Collection, one of Great Britain's noteworthy museums. Located in a wooded park, the trees outside become an integral part of the art inside. This private collection of 8,000 works of art is the life achievement of Sir William Burrell, a wealthy shipbuilder. Near Glasgow, along the Ayrshire coast, is Culzean Castle. Classic in style, it was a fortress transformed by Robert Adam into a country home. Upstairs is an oval presidential suite that was presented to President Eisenhower in 1947 as gratitude to a great war leader. Also on the Ayrshire coast, south of Alloway, is the modest birthplace of Robert Burns. poet laureate. He started out as a farmer, writing for his own amusement, and is sometimes called the plowman poet. Among his major works is the well-known poem Tam O'Shanter and the beautiful love song My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose. The west coast north of Glasgow is a land of stunning contrasts. Jagged mountains soar above calm, sheltered waters, dotted with tiny islands. Oban is Scotland's most popular seaside resort. It's a perfect spot for sailing, sunbathing, and strolling down the quay. Oban is also an ideal place to depart by ferry to the islands of the Hebrides. In the northeast of Scotland, where the River Dee meets the North Sea, stands Aberdeen. This fishing port is headquarters for the oil boom and is also a cathedral and university city. Besides being renowned for its hospitality, Aberdeen is often called the Granite City in reference to her granite buildings and stone quarries. An outstanding example is Marischal College, founded in 1593. Old Aberdeen retains the charm and tranquility of a bygone era. The old townhouse, built in 1788, has become a symbol of Scottish Georgian style. Even at this northern latitude, the sunshine of Aberdeen produces a world of gorgeous flowers and well-kept gardens that are the pride of Aberdeen. Inland, the scenery changes remarkably. The Royal River Dee carves a valley through dense woods. This is where the royal family comes to relax in the summer, to Balmoral Castle. On orders from Prince Albert, the castle was built in 1847 by Aberdeen architect William Smith for Queen Victoria and has since been a favorite for royalty. Also near Aberdeen is Craigavar Castle. Visitors liken it to the fairy tale castle in Walt Disney's Fantasyland. However, it is a perfect example of the 17th century baronial style, with its turrets, corbelling, cupolas, and small rhythmically placed windows. Southward is Dunatar Castle. It stands imposingly over the North Sea and holds a special place in history. During the Commonwealth period, the Scottish crown jewels were hidden here for safekeeping. West of Aberdeen, in the north of Scotland, lie the Highlands. The capital of the region is Inverness, which stands at the northern tip of Loch Ness. A pleasant, non-industrial town, it's been the Highland capital since the times of the Picts. Loch Ness, 23 miles long and more than 700 feet deep, it was carved out by glaciers. Its dark, peat-brown waters are surrounded by weathered mountains. For centuries, there have been legends of an unusual creature living in the depths of the loch. Modern man has been only able to catch a fleeting, blurred glimpse of what might be the mythical monster. For the bold, there are boat trips and tours of the loch, but as yet, no one has seen the beast. What can be seen along the shore is one of Scotland's most dramatic fortifications, Urquhart Castle. Built in the 1300s, it was one of the largest castles in Scotland and offers a tranquil view up and down Loch Ness. Near Culloden, about 5 miles east of Inverness, is Clava Cairns, the site of numerous stone tombs. Dating from the Bronze Age, they were used by the Scots as monuments to the dead. Around 2000 BC, the ancients, for some unknown religious meaning, began to build stone circles around the burial mounds. They remain an enigma today. Nearby is a place that stirs Scottish emotion like no other, Culloden Moor. It was here on the 16th of April 1746 that bonny Prince Charlie and his Highlanders fought to return the throne to the Stuarts. The battle was fierce, and in less than an hour, 1,200 Highlanders died. It marked the end of the Jacobite Rebellion and the last major battle fought on United Kingdom soil. On the shores of Inverness Firth is Cawdor Castle, once the scene of the fictional murder in Shakespeare's Macbeth. Today, Cawdor Castle has been transformed into a family home. In the evenings, pubs become the center of Scottish social life. Music plays a major role, and many pubs feature live traditional music. The best drinks are dark, rich ales and Scotch whiskey. Scotch is made in the Highlands from the cold, clear waters that flow through the valleys. The combination of hearty Scottish barley and mineral-rich water makes Scotch whiskey difficult to duplicate. Many of the well-known distillers are along a single route, the Whiskey Trail. Visitors see the entire process. The end result can only come from Scotland. Scotland, a land of timeless beauty, combining the sophistication of Edinburgh and Glasgow with the serenity of the Highlands and the quaint villages of the countryside. Scotland is the people. Warm, friendly smiles and laughter greet you at every turn. Journey here and you are back in the land of the clan, the kilt, and the bagpipe. Join the Scots' year-round tradition of celebration. As the Scots urge a departing visitor, hasten ye back. Come to a land celebrated in story and song, the land of 40 shades of green, Ireland. Dublin, the capital city of Ireland, was founded by the Vikings over 1,000 years ago. In the Irish weave of past and present, Dublin plays a leading role. It's always been a gathering place for poets and politicians, sinners and saints. From the three-arched bridge over the River Liffey, you can see the heart of Dublin. The city is a composite of graceful stone buildings dating from the 16th century. The famous Georgian doors line the streets of Merrion Square. The streets of Dublin are filled with a contemporary lifestyle, not unlike any other cosmopolitan European capital, with museums, galleries, and sophisticated shopping. Yet, just blocks away, there is a sense that this is a country that will never forget its roots.
How I started with this was purely desperation, you know. I was in Vienna at the time. I had no work and I'd lost my passport. A lot of things went wrong, and so I was very hungry and I had to do something, and I could draw. I never drew with chalks before, you know. So I tried it in Vienna, it went very well. Then I went to Munich, Stuttgart, Hamburg. It's beginning to pay well here. When the pictures are getting better, they pay well, you know, more or less. And because they're original too, people are more impressed. It's basically mother and child, and maybe I'll come along tomorrow. If the picture's still here and there's nobody else drawing here, I'll stick a father in.
Overall, the population of Ireland is one of the youngest in Europe, and you'll see children everywhere. Healthy and rosy-cheeked, they are perhaps the greatest treasure of a people that cherish family above all else. In the streets of any village, you may see the youngsters practicing a casual game of stickball. This is the national sport of hurling, often described as the Clash of Ash, the world's fastest game. Sports are a national pastime, since all of Ireland loves a bit of competition, and on occasion, a friendly wager. But just to be in the field, outdoors in Ireland, is reward enough on its own. Ireland's stormy history has left its mark on the land. The early cults erected huge pillars, massive tombs, and ritualistic circles of stone that still confound and amaze modern man. In this ancient land, there are places that still hold dark secrets. Through centuries of warfare, the Irish kings built the castles and forts that still dot the countryside. The Irish people's love of song, dance, and laughter is nowhere more evident than in their pubs, center of all social life. As the Irish say, have a drink first, then let's talk. And in the quiet country pubs of the West, where Gaelic can still be heard, the haunting refrain of traditional music still speaks from the heart. Lakes of Killarney. Here you can experience the enchanting beauty of the lakes of the Emerald Isle in an 11,000-acre national park. Muckross House, deeded back to the Irish people, stands inside the parklands. Muckross Abbey, local people are still buried here. With a bit of luck, you may learn how this land really came to be, as seen through Irish eyes.
This is the Devil's Punch Bowl right on top of Mangerton Mountain here. The reason why it's called the Devil's Punch Bowl, the devil was a very prominent man here at one time, so he invited us O'Donoghue up here to taste this wine with him, to drink it. So O'Donoghue went up, and they both got drunk on the wine. So don't know who woke up before the devil. So the devil got so angry when he found out he was gone. He turned around, he took this big bite out of the mountain and he spat it in here to the middle lake. There's a rock out here in the middle lake, it's called the Devil's Bit. Still to be seen out there in the lake. You even see the sign of his teeth in it.
The beauty of Ireland will soothe the soul. In the Irish countryside, the good life goes on. This is sheep country, and at the local fair, it's sale time. And after the haggling is over, it's off to the pub to seal the bargain with a friendly pint of stout by the warmth of a smoky peat fire.
Well, this is an exceptionally bad year, and as you can see, the peat is still quite soft. But because of all the rain we've had, this is the state it's in. So I just stand it up to protect it from frost damage for the winter. Hope I'll have some dry stuff in the spring. That's it.
The peat bogs still supply the fuel to warm the homes of the Irish countryside. It has been written more than once that a love for horses seems built into the Irish soul. The love affair with the horse begins with the Connemara ponies from the West Coast, but it includes anything you can ride, from draft animals to hunters, jumpers, and fine-blooded stock. In the season, there is a hunt for every day of the week. And if the fox doesn't come to the hounds, it doesn't matter, because then, of course, it's off to the pub. For many, the trip to Ireland is a search for long-lost ancestors. Traditionally, Ireland's greatest export and its greatest gift to the world has always been its people. For today, there are far more Irish in other countries of the world than remain in Ireland. For those sons and daughters of Ireland in search of ancestral roots, nothing can compare with coming home. But even if you're not the least bit Irish, you'll feel the warmth of the Irish welcome, for there are no strangers in Ireland. In the country pubs, among newfound friends, you'll experience the true spirit of the Irish people. For there will always be an Ireland. For those of us who believe in dreams and music and laughter and love of life, Ireland will always be home.
Travelview International is pleased to present Travel Tips by Berlitz. Berlitz, the world's leading publisher of print travel guides.
Scotland has 4 main airports, but only Prestwick Airport, about an hour from Glasgow, handles long-haul flights. No matter where you enter the United Kingdom, you'll have to fill out a simple form for immigration authorities. And once you picked up your baggage, you'll have to go through customs. If you have no dutiable goods that must be declared, just breeze through the green channel and out the door, quick and painless. Unless the inspector is in the mood to make a spot check. You can change your money at the airport or in town. Banks usually give a better exchange rate than currency exchange bureaus or hotels. The decimal system, which replaced the traditional shillings and pence, makes life much easier in Britain. The pound sterling is divided into 100 pence. Both English and Scottish bills circulate interchangeably, but be forewarned that Scottish money is not accepted so readily in England, except by banks. The public transport network is extensive, but a car is always a convenient way to see the country. You should know that Scotland's back roads can be very challenging by any standard. Whatever you do, don't forget to drive on the left. If you're unaccustomed to it, be especially alert at intersections. You can rent a car from any of the local or international firms. You won't need an international driver's license in Britain. Your own home license will do nicely. Even if it's midsummer, you'll need warm clothing and rainwear for Scotland. The average temperature in July is only 59 degrees, 15 Celsius. And it can rain anytime. Formality is relaxed, except in the fancier hotels, where a jacket and probably a tie are customary for dinner. The food is hearty in Scotland. Thick, complicated soups, for example. Scottish beef is greatly appreciated, and look for many varieties of game. The fresh fish is splendid, but expensive. You're not obliged to drink Scotch whiskey, but many tourists like to try a few of the 2,000 or so brands of Scotch available. Wine, beer, and mineral water are alternatives. Turning to the shopping scene, this is the place for woolen wear, sweaters, skirts, scarves, or kilts. Then there are handmade glassware, pottery, silvercraft, or invest in your very own bagpipes. A hefty sales tax, value-added tax, or VAT, makes bargains less so. Overseas visitors can recover the tax by filling out a form for personal export. But the paperwork is worthwhile only for rather big purchases. Put Scotland in your pocket with Berlitz, the world's leading travel guide. Nearly 100 destinations on 6 continents, plus Berlitz phrase books and pocket dictionaries. For the joy of travel, go Berlitz.